Good morning and welcome in everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over just an overview of what is transpiring so far this morning. As the US is starting to wake up this morning, we're going to see if we have any kind of reversal here. That typically will happen around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This morning, XRP has bounced back and we're up to $2.23. Overnight, we had a high point. And let's just make sure exactly where it topped off overnight. We headed up to about $2.25.5. And we're still in that same rotation. In the 2 hourly, it's come down a little bit, which is not a surprise. Or in the hourly, as the US wakes up, generally we'll have some downward volatility. We managed to hold a very critical support level here, which is at $2.14. If we come below there, then all of a sudden you start to look at that $1.98, possibly down to $1.80 or $1.78, and then we do have a gap around $1.50 that in time we could come down to. It's something we've talked about since December if this breaks down, and we're still within that very critical area of consolidation. Throughout the market, we've had Bitcoin went down to about 82K yesterday at its low point. 82,200. Now we've got to get back above 88,200 area. Otherwise, this could just be a back test of resistance. So that's something we would have to get past. We don't have an extreme amount of volume coming in. So it's definitely something to be watching for. So we'll keep looking at XRP during this update. I've only got about 10 minutes because my son's got to get to school at 8:20. But I still wanted to do this morning update. I find it very important. So let me do the intro. And then we'll talk through this for about the next 8 to 10 minutes. So good morning, 7:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, February 27th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I do thank everybody for tuning in this morning. I know it's a little early, but now we get to see what the market makers have in store. It looks like it's going to be an interesting day in the risk assets. The gold market's down. Gold's reversed about $30 an ounce for 2 out of the last 3 days. Now we've been in this range. Commodities, if it's selling off a little bit today, you know, money finds yield somewhere else. So maybe it's back to the spin to risk assets today. It is Thursday today. Starting tomorrow will be the last day of the trading week with the ETFs and so on and so forth. We know the last 10 straight weekends we've had dumps. By Sunday night into Monday, we were very red, and that's happened 10 straight weeks. So that's the last 2.5 months. Over the weekend, we've had volatility to the downside. Now we're going to see if that continues, especially with the fact that the escrow dump by Ripple happens to be on Saturday. Tomorrow's the last day of February already, believe it or not. It's pretty crazy to think we're already almost through January and February of this year already. It's just going by so quick. And time seems to be spinning so quickly. But now we're going to look at it as that ultra volatility as we get into the weekend. We've got no ETFs on. It's a thinly traded weekend. And Ripple is going to release 1 billion tokens from escrow. Usually about 800 million gets locked back up until December of 2028. What happens in December of 2028, nobody really knows. But that's when, at least on appearance, they could supposedly just unload them all at the same time. Or figure out a final resting place for him. So, a lot going on here. We know with Bitcoin, and if we don't get back over that 88K area, it's a problem. Like, I really think you have to get over that. It's almost 89K now. 88,400 to be, well, no. To be safe, I would want it a little bit higher. I would say get over 89K. Anything under 89K is really bullish or bearish. We need to reverse this in some way, but there is no volume really coming in. However, one thing that is playing in our favor, if you weren't here last night, is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. You know, I'm a big fan of when it gets in extreme fear for market rallies, and right now we're at 10. We're at 10. That's extreme fear. Typically in extreme fear, you're not going to see the full-on market drop, only because they try to use the money that's not there, you know, to try to reacquire. But when there's not a bunch of fear in the market, not everybody's going to be in the market. Right now with extreme fear, the best way to look at it is is there's a bunch of people selling, but even though the prices dropped by almost over $20,000 per Bitcoin, XRP's dropped from 340 down to 222, and so on and so forth across the board. Most people are selling, and there's not becoming the emergence of buyers. In extreme fear, you won't have people buying from the sellers. Now, in extreme greed, you won't have people taking profits while people are buying for the first time in the top of a bull market. Even though people bought in the bear market, in extreme greed, they're not taking profit because they think it can go nowhere but up. And then on the drops, when it's in extreme fear, nobody's buying except the ones who might have, or nobody's really buying at all. But the sellers are happening at all levels. The ones who bought in pre-rally, the ones who bought in the bull market rally, they're selling at a loss. But yet the ones who are sitting there trying to get longer or trying to get in the first time are not looking to buy at all. In extreme fear, it's actually should be looking for some kind of accumulation on assets that haven't moved as much. As to where extreme greed, you're supposed to be selling those assets that have moved a bunch. So that's where we stand right now. So it's a pretty stationary game here. It's a sub-zero game, like I always say. Money comes in, money goes out. There's always going to be that one person who makes money, but then there's also got to be the money it detracts from. So if I make 100%, someone else has got to lose that equivalent. There is no earnings in crypto. It's the number one risk asset in the world, I believe. These are risk assets. A lot of people misunderstood and say they're store of values. Absolutely not. The store of value is gold and silver. You take your profits from a risk asset and you throw it in the gold and silver bullion. For crypto, a risk asset isn't supposed to move 50% every other day. That's not that's not a store of value. That's a risk asset by definition. A store of value barely moves, maybe 1 or 2% here or there, and then you just deal. And it takes a long time to get to where you're going, but it's a more steady process. Risk assets can be 50% up one day, 75% down the next day, 200% up the next day, 80% down the following day. So the basic line is if you were using crypto as a store of value, you'd be getting slaughtered right now, especially if you put into it and you've been building into it when Bitcoin was at 100,000 or you started using XRP as a store of value at $3. Like, that's not how you want to do it. Look at it this way. It's a risk asset. When you have profits, you move it into a proper store of value in gold and silver. Mainly silver right now because it's so undervalued. But you don't just hold it in your crypto and say, oh, my value is going to continue to go up and I'm storing and saving it so I don't lose value. The only way to do a proper store of value is gold and silver. I don't care what anybody says. And everybody who continues to preach that Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, XRP is a store of value just shows how inept they are when it comes to a real store of value. XRP looks great right now, in my opinion. At least right now with the XRP Bitcoin pairing. Looks good. XRP looks like it's bottomed towards Bitcoin, at least in the short term. And now, right now, this could be a bull flag formed. And if that's the case, this is going to come all the way back up to here in the XRP Bitcoin pairing. And that would leave for a little bit of upward volatility. That's about a 10% move here we're looking at with XRP versus Bitcoin. So is that volatility going to confirm this inverse head and shoulders, how we're on a breakout here from the neckline and this descending wedge in the smaller time? Looks like it. But if it rotates back down, it rotates back down and then it invalidates that thesis. But right now, XRP is in a position here to do something as it's on low support and we're in extreme fear. So if people are paying attention instead of selling, they're probably accumulating for a little spike here just based on the way the indicators are. So that's what I'm seeing this morning. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you're looking to get long or go short, play leverage, play spot, I prefer spot for my audience, but I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I want to be one, nor do I ever consider becoming one because I don't think that they have much value. But BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker fee. Take advantage while the market's in the sporadic moments to set yourself on an exchange. Even if you're not trading, have it set up for the future. You can kind of manipulate this the same way with BLOFIN. A little bit different platform, but it's cheaper. HOTCOIN does have VELO. They have IOTA, XDC, and such, but I think there's liquidity issues there, so I don't have much money on there. I pulled most of it off. Actually, all of it as of right now. But you can buy on BLOFIN. They do have VELO, and they do have some of the other ones that are harder to find. Can send a donation other ways, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Join Tom's Army if you want to show further support. Share this far and wide and make sure to hit that like button. And I would encourage you to turn that bell notification to all, so that if they're going to alert people, at least you'll be on that alert list. So pay attention this morning. We're getting into the rocky moments. I'll update you guys more as we get closer to noon. I'll try to do a short because I feel like the shorts are important around noon or 1, since I'm doing the updates at 8 a.m. And then we'll do the live at about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll catch up. My son does have food therapy today, so there is a chance that I'll be doing an update at his therapy. So it's either going to be a short or it's going to be my normal, like a normal video. So we'll see how it goes. But I appreciate everybody watching, but I got to go. Have a blessed morning, and be helpful to each other.